This is video 2 of 3, and I don't want to do much repeating. So if you haven't watched the first video, it'd be helpful to kind of know where this came from. It was a proof of concept of actually accessing an external database that existed since 2004. So now in video 2, this is aimed at clients and prospects of my company. So I've had permission for probably over a year to grant free access to this product from 2004. But when thinking about it, it doesn't really fit in 2025. It's kind of dated. It didn't really keep up. Uh, as an example, it uses things called categories today in 2025. We would call them tags. So ways of finding information that you want to recall later, that idea. So I haven't really pursued that. I don't want to just give it to my customers and then them not use it. So I want to always make it better. So the idea came about, okay, how rather than actually build on that product and make it different than the customer had me build, what about accessing the database in a read-only way? We're not actually writing back to the database with these external products, but this was my first example about actually proving that. This is locked to my customer number as a login because I have access as the builder of that project. So I did that, and then I wanted to specifically look for what I categorized as /taglines. So the only way of out of the hundreds of entries that I have out there probably in that database, this product that you're looking at on your screen right now is locked only to my customer, and that you have no access to anyone else's data out there. It's safe, and specifically you can't even see what I have in my other categories. I've got it locked to both my customer number and the category. Okay, so but then I thought more. So okay, what if, and this is just kind of a something I did, what if I start making categories like this? So today's date is, we'll do it in this kind of format. So what if I had a series of categories out there preceded by the word date with a colon, with or without spaces after it, but it has a date after it, and then I could pull out and sort by the date of all those things and put that in a pull down menu. Okay, so that's one example. And then other examples are that I could say, because what happens is when I enter an email address out there, it doesn't make it where it's clickable. And of course, in today's world, that's not as valuable. But it doesn't have the mail to where you used to be able to just when everyone was using the their own mail program, that would launch their email program and automatically put the email address in there. And that's still part of the HTML standard. Not so much today with people using Gmail, etc., which I do. So not as valuable as today, but whatever. But it would put that into a link. The other thing is if I got URLs out there, so we'll do a URL, my site as an example. It doesn't make that into a quote-unquote clickable link. So again, the idea is that if I access that database and I precede these by certain things, whether that's in the actual contents themselves or in the categories or whatever, I would have that, and I can now put in the database. And I've already done this for some customers. I've already, without telling them they have access to the site, I've actually created an account for them. If I want to share some information with them, I already have that information already out there in that database. This is kind of an expansion of that idea. If I now, instead of picking out a particular category, I look for certain words and put those into a pull down menu as an example. About perhaps the date I posted it or the date of an upcoming event or whatever, that idea. And so rather than granting direct access to this database, I'm just going to begin as I come across things for my customers and for my prospects. So most of my customers are using Basecamp. If they don't come in with a project management tool of their own, I do have some clients that are on Asana and they love that. So I don't tell anyone how to have their project, kept track of, whatever. But it's best to have one source. still today, oftentimes we're communicating live by Facebook Messenger. We have that. I'm now in a bunch of school groups, so I'm posting direct messages in school. One person particular in mind, the initials of JS. I've been communicating with her that mostly that way, and then if you send an email, okay, so you have all this stuff kind of scattered around. So one, let's say Basecamp, I could go in there as things that develop, but this is kind of a lighter approach about, okay, it doesn't really warrant a Basecamp post and emailed or not. It doesn't really warrant a direct message. If I can just point someone to a particular spot and then they log in, as an example, not this is obviously not a login, but all I would have to do is bring up that to have them log in, and then they only see it's locked to their customer number, and then I can go out there without affecting the original 2004 code in any way. I'm not adding features there. I'm just kind of building on top of it. So I can make all these little sub niche products specific to the client or the prospect, exactly how I want to present things, exactly what I want them to see, that idea. And all I have to do is log in as them with the username and password that I created on their behalf without telling them, and I can access it that way. Now, in video 3, I'm going to talk specifically using people's initials. So if I mention your initials, then you'll know, okay, he's thinking about me. This is exactly what this could mean for me personally, and I'll talk about that in video 3. So I'll close with what I did in video 1. I just type a keyword, so we'll just type in the word money, and it just brings up a quote here. So now there's probably more things out there with money in there, but this is the /taglines. And so there's at least 2 out there. When I clicked search the second time, it just found the same entry. So the word money might not be included in there too much, but just little humorous sayings from /dot from the late 90s I collected and put into that database back in 2004. So anyway, so be watching out for a call out in video 3. And if I don't call out your initials, let's say you're watching this and it hasn't really occurred to me how it might apply to you. This won't necessarily apply to all my customers, but I can use it for any customer that I want to keep track of certain information, just light information, if you will. It doesn't warrant a Basecamp post, doesn't warrant interrupting with Facebook Messenger or or a school notification, etc. But just light information that I can do, even to keep track of notes for myself in relation to that client or prospect. So that's the idea. Be looking out for video 3, and as I started to say, if I don't mention you specifically in video 3 by your initials, then that doesn't mean I'm happy to reach out to me and talk about, okay, you might have an idea about how this might be of relevance to you, or that you would like me to really think about how it might apply to you. So happy to have you reach out, even if I don't mention you. But be listening for your initials for the folks that I've got in mind for video 3, and we'll go from there.